Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. It's Regina Coley, aka the Motivator, Educator, and Cultivator. Thank you guys for joining me live. Or if you're catching the replay, drop in the comment box, hashtag replay. I'm happy to have you here. Today, I wanted to explain to you a little bit more about Mission Minded, my 60-day action and accountability group, which launches today. And for any reason it hasn't come up in your Facebook feed or anywhere else you're following me online, I definitely wanted to make sure that you got the details, because this weekend is going to be your last opportunity to join us. And I know that accountability groups have different meanings for each and every person who's ever heard that before, and some people are like, what is an accountability group? So I wanted to come on here and make sure that you had an opportunity to learn a little bit more about that. So we're at the end of 2018, or getting close to it, with it being December 1st. We just have just a few more weeks left, and then we're saying adios and welcoming in 2019. And so what that means for a lot of different people is a lot of different things. For some people, it's a lot of anxiety because they're looking at their year and they're saying to themselves, things did not go the way that I planned this year, myself included. I mean, things just happened this year that I had no earthly idea would exist for me in this year. But I don't look at it with anxiety. I look at it as an opportunity to reflect at the end of the year. However, there are some people that don't understand that reflection process, and they look at it with a lot of regret. I should have done this differently, or I could have done this better. What is wrong with me? Why is it that I can't ever have what it is that I set out to achieve? And I know that as really driven, ambitious people, we are always on the lookout for the next course or the next program or the next thought leader that's going to come, and they're going to deliver all of these wonderful messages to us, courses to us, programs to us, and we sign up, and sometimes we find ourselves right back in the same boat each year. And what I found is that it's not necessarily that you're listening to the wrong voice, or that you don't have the access or the tools that some other people have. Sometimes it's really something very, very internal inside of us. And there are changes that we personally need to make. One of those is that nobody holds us accountable to our dreams but ourselves. Because 9 times out of 10, nobody knows what your dreams are but you. Sometimes we've gotten so far into this space where we feel like we have to keep everything a secret. And we've heard sometimes it's best to move in silence, and I can attest to you that it is. Sometimes you don't need 1,000 outside voices telling you what you can or you cannot do, or this is not the right time, or that you're not the right person. But the drawback to moving in silence sometimes is that you are also working in isolation, so that you don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of, or to ask, or to receive counsel from, because you're doing everything by yourself. You're doing things alone. So the Action and Accountability Group provides this space that's a really sacred space for us to say and acknowledge that sometimes you don't want to announce to the world what you're working on until you get to the point where you're ready to market that thing. Or sometimes it's not even a business goal that you're working on. It's just something that you don't want to publicize. However, you need some assistance and you need help with getting from here to there. So the Action and Accountability Group is our place to say, these are the steps that you need to follow to get from point A to point B in reaching your goals. And number 2, I'm going to hold you accountable to it, because if you say that this is going to be done by this date, and we're getting close to that date, and you realize that you're not there yet, that's when the panic starts to set in. That's when we start to psych ourselves out and thinking that, all right, I might as well go ahead and prepare for this next failure that I'm about to experience, rather than digging our heels in deeper and really pushing forward and making that thing happen. How many of you all can just say that you've done that at least once or twice, is that you just got so close to it and you were like, you know what, I'm not even going to try to do that this year. I'm not even going to try to do that anymore. It's not working out for me. And so Mission Minded is this place for us to come together, number 1, and focus on our own personal missions. As I'm getting to the end of 2018, I am taking a lot of opportunities to reflect on things that personally and professionally went right or could have been done a little bit better. One of the things that I looked at in my business was what was one of my very most popular posts on Instagram. Surprisingly enough, it was that her assignment is not yours. That's all I posted. And it had the most interactions on social media. Why was that post so popular? I have no idea, but when I took that time to reflect, I really think that people understand that we have to learn how to stay in our own space and in our own lane. Sometimes we're too busy, and especially with this internet and our world of connectivity, we realize that, wow, I tried to do this thing this year. I got close to failure and I gave up. Hi, Janelle. I got close to failure and I gave up, and so either I'm not the right person for it or this business is not working for me. We start to put our eyes on what somebody else is doing successfully. We see them really flourishing in their business, and we go, this didn't work out, so maybe I should try to become a speaker. Or this didn't work out, maybe I should try coaching. And that wasn't your initial mission. If you had stuck with your own mission long enough, maybe you could have your success story that you're sharing. But because you're bouncing from thing to thing to thing, the one mission that you were set out and gifted to do, it never had an opportunity to flourish. So, yep, and Janelle says it's called the next shiny object syndrome, and it is. And sometimes when we get close to our goals, we have to understand that there's going to be a lot of challenges. There are going to be a lot of obstacles, and what we have to learn how to build is resistance. Not resistance, resilience. And that we keep going no matter what challenges and adversities come our way. And there's going to be a lot of them. There are going to be some days that you feel crazy. There's going to be some days that just feels like I just simply can't do it. And you can. And so the Action and Accountability Group provides that space where on those days that you find yourself in that place, we're able to give you the inspiration that you need or the encouragement that you need. Because the truth of the matter is, as an entrepreneur, there's no band and there's no cheerleading squad coming for you. And on those days that you really, really need somebody to say, rah, rah, you can do it, keep going, you the girl, you got this, there isn't one. And on those days, you have to have some tools and some processes and some systems in place that you can run to so that you can keep going, so that you can stay focused on your mission. So one of the things that I wanted you guys to do, whether you're watching this live or you're catching the replay, do you know what your personal mission is? Do you know what that is? I mean, you were created for a purpose. Do you know what that thing is? That is your mission. One of the things that I continuously say, no matter what business it is that you see that I'm doing, and I do a lot of things, you'll see me writing on the blog. I have the online business. You guys have seen Leading Ladies of Legacy, the girls' nonprofit mentoring and leadership training program. You guys saw that I trained last year to become a doula. One thing that I will always do is educate, and I love working with children and families. It don't matter in what capacity. That is my mission. That is my purpose. One of the things that I was told a long time ago by my mother, she always told me, I always have seen a teacher in you ever since you've been little. You've always been the person that has always wanted to tell somebody else what to do. And I said, that doesn't necessarily mean that I was supposed to be a teacher. I could have just been a great leader. But I always was leading in groups and teaching in groups, and I'm very, I have a lot of empathy, and I enjoy listening to other people, extremely patient. All those characteristics to me make a great leader. But those are things that have been seen in me since I've been a baby. And I had to later acknowledge and work with, and ended up majoring in college, pursuing as a career, and am now actively pursuing as a full-time entrepreneur. I homeschool my kids. That's me still educating. I work with kids in the community, educating. I work with pregnant mothers, educating, inspiring. All of that, that is my personal mission. When I start to look at other people and what they're doing, I have to ask myself, does this distract me from my personal mission? Am I now about to start going off into another tangent that has nothing to do with what it is that I've been gifted and graced to do? So you want to ask yourself that same thing, because at the end of the year and the beginning of the new year, all these new ideas and visions get deposited into us, and it's like, oh, I think I want to write a new book. Oh, I think I want to launch a new this. Oh, I think I want to start doing this, and I'm going to do it all on January 1st. You have to ask yourself, is this going to distract you from your own mission, or is it going to enhance you and allow you to create greater impact with what it is that you've already been gifted and graced to do? So if I say that my mission is to educate people, if I write a book, that allows me to educate in a written form, and it allows me to expand that reach even further. One of the things I'm also looking at is how can I take it a level further? You may have already written a book. Now it's time for you to get that book translated into another language. Greater reach, greater impact, still doing exactly what it is that you've been gifted and graced to do, but now you're just doing it in a greater capacity. And it may not have been something that you ever thought of doing before, but it will allow you to stay in your lane, stay very committed to the work that you've already done, but create and do it on a different, greater level. So mission-minded is very much so that space for us to do that. You're going to come into this group and you're going to be able to say, here is what I'm doing, here is what I want to do, if you choose to share whatever it is that you want to share. And then you're going to take all the tools and resources, which I'm about to tell you in 1 second what those are, utilize those tools and utilize this space to be around iron sharpeners. The biggest blessing that I've had is people that are women and men of faith, because that is my foundation, be able to say to me, don't let that thing distract you too far from your foundation. If your foundation is your faith, then that needs to be integrated into everything that it is that you do. If this is something that's going to take you too far from that place and space, that's not a place and space that you need to go. Plain and simple. So this group provides that opportunity for you and that space for you to be around iron sharpeners who are going to say to you, oh, I think I see the connection, or I see the correlation of how that attaches to whatever it is that you stated is your mission. Now, I explained to you that I'm a woman of faith. So how did this group kind of come about? And I have two foundational scriptures that came from. The very first is Ecclesiastes 7:8, which says, better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. But when I read it, I was like, why is the end better than the beginning? Because we're getting to the end of this year, and I'm looking for inspiration to tell the people why the end of the year is going to be better than the beginning of the year. So I really had to do some studying. I really had to do some time of reflecting on how. And here's what I found. First of all, this came from Solomon, who is the wisest, or one of the wisest people who have ever lived. So then I'm looking at the beginning of the better is the end of the thing than the beginning. Here's why the end is better than the beginning. And I want you to write this down. The end explains. The end explains. When I saw that, I was like, the end explains. What does that mean? So let's take a look at this. If somebody's life has ended, we're at their funeral, we're preparing to lay that person to rest. What is it that you reflect on? You don't really reflect on the ending of that thing. You reflect on their process. The end explains how that person has lived their life. It gives us the process. Were they a person of integrity? Were they a person who loved their family? Were they people who were actively involved in their community? What was it that was very special about them? The end explains. It gives us this opportunity to explain. And so what I've learned is God is really concerned with our process. So when the end of the year comes, it gives an explanation as to how you lived that year. And I think that that is what creates the anxiety for a lot of people. It's like, it shows me at the end of the year when I'm looking at my paper and realizing I didn't reach my goals. It shows where I procrastinated. It shows where I got distracted. It shows where I didn't follow through. It shows where I allowed my adversities to become bigger and better than me. It shows where I wasn't consistent. The end explains. So when I look at people who are like, oh, I'm just ready for 2018 to be over with, when is the new year coming? It's because you are not proud of the process or the explanation that year if that you created. But the blessing is that the new year is coming, and it's an opportunity to create a new process. So then when I started looking at, all right, what's the inspiration I can give the people for the new year? Here's what I found. Zechariah 4:10. It says, do not despise the small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. So here we are at the beginning of the year. Here's this opportunity for new works to begin, or new habits to begin, or new processes to begin. Not necessarily a new mission, just new habits, work, processes, thoughts, but still actively doing that very thing that maybe you didn't accomplish the year or the last 5 years before. Here is your opportunity to say, this year may have started very small. You might have written down on a piece of paper January 1, this year I'm launching my speaking business and I'm going to speak to 30 different people. And you spoke to 2 people this year on 2 stages. Guess what? You spoke on 2 stages. You've done much better than the person who did not launch their business, even though they wrote it down on a piece of paper. You may have only spoken to groups of 15 people at both of those speaking engagements, but those people may have been directly related to your mission and your assignment. So we can get consumed sometimes with numbers. Sometimes we are numbers people. How many followers do you have? Well, have you done what you were supposed to do with the 10 followers that you do have while you're begging for 10,000? We can't be consumed with numbers. We have to be consumed with the quality of our work. And that was one thing for me at the beginning of my business. Sometimes I would be sitting there at these girls mentoring programs with 2 and 3 girls, and I would get discouraged and say to myself, I don't have enough girls. I don't have enough people. People are going to think that this is not real. They can't take me seriously. But maybe I was just assigned to those 2 and 3 girls to get the model for the business right. Maybe I was assigned to 2 or 3 girls to develop my curriculum and develop that and get it right. Maybe I was assigned to 2 or 3 girls so that I can work on my pitch for my business, or work on my pitch to principals, or discover that this is not the right space for us to be before I get 300 girls. I had to figure that out with 2 or 3. So do not despise the small beginnings that we all experience in life and business and our personal journeys, because everybody goes through them, and sometimes the small isn't televised. We don't want to share those processes with people. We only want people to see when it's great, when it's beautiful, and when it's big and it's bodacious. We don't want to share the small, because the small is, I'm still just trying to figure it out. I'm insecure about it. I'm not as confident as I can be. And so one of the things that we really, really want to make sure that we're doing is not despising the beginning, because we just discovered better is the end of the thing. So now let's look at this. Small beginnings, the end explains. If we can look at the end of this year and look and reflect on what has happened, say to ourselves, I'm not going to regret anything that happened. I'm going to use this reflection time to refresh and redirect my energies back to what it is that I've been called to do, my assignment. I'm focusing and choosing to intentionally focus on that as 2019 enters, and I'm going to enter the year with clarity. Not January 1, I'm sitting down and I'm writing out or creating a vision board, which I've seen a lot of people do, which works wonders, because I do like to have a visual picture of what it is that I'm stepping into. But after you've done what Habakkuk 2:2 says, and you wrote the vision, you've made it plain, you've created your vision board, now it's time to create your action plan. So 2 of the tools that you will receive in the accountability group, number 1 is your goal setting worksheet. That allows you to write the vision, make it plain, discover what your goals are, give them a deadline, make sure that they are measurable. But number 2 is the 60-day action accountability workbook. And I find that when you sit down and you work on an action plan, it puts the work behind your wants. You now are looking at, yes, I want to start a speaking business, or yes, I want to write a book, or yes, I want to launch my program, but there's 50 billion steps that have to be done in order for me to do that. And so this to me distinguishes those who are willing to work hard versus those who are just looking for a really quick fix and an opportunity to get insta-famous or to get some quick money to pay a bill. I am trying to build something that has longevity, so I understand that there's going to be a lot of work that's required of me to build that thing. And so right now, a lot of what I'm doing is working in isolation, which is not really where I want it to be. But I do understand that I have to be pulled to the side so that my focus is very, very clear, and so that I can hear clearly what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. I can see clearly why certain things are happening the way that they are for me in my own personal life, and I can see how the connections that are being made and why they're being made. A lot of that can't happen when you have a lot of external voices around you, or you are extremely busy, because you miss a lot of it because of your busyness. And so sometimes when you get pulled into a period of isolation, I think that it's okay, because it's the preparation stage for what is about to happen. And so sometimes you have to go through this preparation process before you begin the actual work. And the action plan allows you to just slow down long enough to really ask yourself, what is it that needs to be done? What is it that needs to be changed inside of me? Because I can look at a to-do list and I can knock out work. But if I'm not looking actively at the work that is inside of me that needs to change as well, then it's never going to mesh well together. So one of those things is I know that I need to be more consistent. I have 6 children. That leads to a lot of inconsistencies in my life because I prioritize my children over anything else. If something goes wrong with them, everything else I drop it because I'm going to go see about my kids. And I have to make sure that they are okay. But I also understand that as an entrepreneur, especially somebody who's building community and who considers themselves to be a leader over a group of people and a group of children, I have accountability to that group and those constituents as well. So I have to learn how to create better balance. How can I make sure that my kids are taken care of so that I can also do the work that I've been assigned to do? And I hear a lot of people say, you need to focus on your kids. All that other stuff will be there later. But it's not other stuff when you understand assignment properly. It is work that has to be done. It's assigned to you. Either you're going to do it or God is going to realize that you can't be trusted and entrust that work to someone else. So then when you see somebody else's success and you start to feel that feeling, but I had that idea. I had that idea 5 years ago. But guess what? You couldn't be trusted with that idea. So now somebody else has done it. They are successing. And you can't sit back and watch it. And you can say to yourself that next time I hope that I have the consistency and the follow through and the resilience to make it happen for myself. And Mission Minded is the place to make sure that that happens. I've had that happen to me several times. And it's gut wrenching. It hurts. Because you're like, man. I mean, I had that idea verbatim. Just couldn't follow through long enough to make it happen. And somebody else could. And I can't be mad at that. All I can do is, you go, girl. You got this. All I can do is say that. And I've learned to be in a place where I'm not jealous. I'm not hateful. I'm not spiteful. I have to learn how to congratulate people who are doing the things that I wish I could do. And focus not only on just celebrating that person, because I think it's important to celebrate other people's successes, but reflect for a minute on why you feel the way that you do. You feel that way because you weren't consistent. Note to self. Do not be in the same position next year. Focus on growth. A lot of what we focus on in the Call to Cultivate community, which is a community that exists on reginacoley.com/community, is this understanding of cultivation. And the reason why it's called the Call to Cultivate community is that, number one, this is a season that we're called to working with people, educating them, enriching them, empowering. My mission doesn't allow me to be inconsistent. Why? Because I'm accountable to a group of people that if I don't show up, I don't do what I'm supposed to do, they are not actively able to grow. When you work with somebody and you work with people, you are in this position of saying, I see something that you don't see because you're so attached and so closely related to it. Or I've been where you are and I remember that this is how I overcame that. Or you're saying to themselves, I've done it and I can just share with you the do's and don'ts. And you're helping them to avoid certain situations and time wasters and spirit drainers. And those are the type of people that you want to encourage. But in order to do that, you really have to cultivate them. That means we are consistently tilling, unearthing, digging deeper, and understanding that we have to be deeply rooted and committed to a thing in order to grow. A plant and a seed can't grow unless it is first taken root. It's in place. Things can be uprooted, but that root has to grow, and it has to grow in a nourishing foundation. So that means that we're providing a space for people where they're able to receive their nourishment. They're able to deeply plant themselves and commit to that thing because it's a good thing. It's good ground. But we're also able to help them grow by continuously giving them the things that they need. Pouring into them. Telling them, you don't want to put too much of that thing in there because then we'll have a problem. You're looking and you're saying, I see some weeds that's about to come choke you out, honey. We need to cut that off, clip that. Don't do that. Because it's going to choke out that gift. And it's growing. You're growing this thing. You're getting better at this thing. You are becoming. And this is the thing that's coming to uproot and take away from that. So the Call to Cultivate community creates this space where we're able to really share in that spirit and that community to be able to say, I'm here for you to help you grow and become better. And I know that there are a community of people who are speakers, who are teachers, who are coaches, who's very focused is that every single day you guys wake up and you say to yourself, how can I help my people be better today? What resources and tools can I give them today? What can I teach them today? What tutorials can I provide today? What tip can I give them really quickly on my social media channel that will help them to become great? You are a cultivator. That's your main focus. Those are the individuals that I love to work with because at my core, that is who I am. That is who everybody in my circle is, honestly. And so that community and that space is created for that. And this Mission Minded is just one of the very programs that was created so that you can intentionally focus on how you can continue to do that for yourself. Now, you may be saying, it's Mission Minded for me if I don't have a business, but I just have some goals, some things that I want to see happen. Maybe you have something that you want to see happen within your family. Maybe you have something that you want to see happen differently in your marriage this year. Maybe you have something that you just want to see happen differently in your community, and it's an initiative, not necessarily a business. Yes, yes, and yes. All those things are goals because that's essentially the focus of our program. Is what are your goals? How can we make sure that you meet them? And what habits and systems can we put in place to make sure that you never get distracted again? And so I shared with you that you will receive the goal setting worksheets. I shared with you that you'll receive the 60-day action plan workbook, but you'll also get access to the Mission Minded Habits mini course. Now, I spent a substantial amount of this year. This year has been a whirlwind for me, guys. A whirlwind. When I tell you, if you all are women and men of faith, and you know the story of Job. Job lost it all, y'all. Lost it all. I have had to look at my life this year and look at where God has just literally been plucking things out of my life that have not made sense to me. I'm like, but why are you taking that away? Why are you taking this away? Why are you taking this away? Why is this all going away? Because God, I think, is calling me to really look at and stop looking at this stuff surface level. Those are just things. I don't need you to focus on things. I need you to get to this meat that I'm trying to give to you, and you too busy looking at the things, and you're missing the meat. And so this year has been like that for me. This year has been really a year where I've reflected on my own journey, my own process. I've evaluated my own, my life, my habits, who it is that I am, who is it that I'm becoming, what has happened thus far in my life that I'm proud of, what has happened thus far in my life where I'm like, Lord Jesus, let that never happen again. And that's really what I do at the end of each year. 2018 has been extremely challenging, but I think it's been challenging because God is saying, where you are about to go next, I need you to be strong. I need you to be resilient. I need you to be able to focus in the midst of crazy chaos happening. I still need you to be able to look out, not see all of this, but see me. Even in the midst of that, I need you to be able to see me and quickly get back to where I need you to get back to. And so I know that I wasn't able to do that before, but I think that that is what all these challenges is calling me to do this year. And so being able to do that, I had to really reflect on habits. And so I spent a substantial amount of this year studying habits of successful people. I've studied Brian Tracy. I've studied Brandon Bouchard. I've studied everybody who has a book about leadership and about habits. And so what I've done is culminated all that information so that you don't have to into this mini course on mission-minded habits that will allow us to stay focused, to get extremely clear on our habits, on the things that we need to replace in order for us to get where we need to be. And one of the success quotes says, in order to get what you never have had, you got to do something that you've never done. That to me was a direct reflection of habits, and that's why I chose to focus in on that area. And honestly, a lot of what I looked at, I was like, oh, yeah. That needs a little bit of work. Yep. That needs improvement. Yep, I need to start doing that. And I started to create this list of things that I needed to do better and become better at and become more consistent with. And all of that has gotten incorporated into my success plan for the year. And so that's why I really feel confident in this year, and I'm extremely excited about what the next new year has to offer. And I hope that you feel that energy and that you get excited about the ending of your 2018 too, because you have an opportunity to look at these habits and say to yourself, you know what, I do need to make a change. Some things do need to change. Some things weren't right. And nobody else is looking at those things for you, so you can be 100% honest with yourself. No need to feel guilty about it. Those are just areas where you're saying to yourself, I need to be a little bit more consistent and I need to create better habits, better rituals. I need to have more follow through and be more consistent and say and do what I say I'm going to do and be a person that other people can trust and rely upon. It's directly related to your calling and your mission in life is reliability and trust. So we look at a lot of those character traits and integrity to make sure that that foundation is in place too, because once you get going, I mean, your foundation and who you are at your core needs to be firmly established and deeply rooted so that you can grow and be great in the work that you've been assigned to do. Another thing that you'll receive in this course is the wrapping up the year, which we've talked a lot about today, but we go into a lot more detail in terms of how to wrap up this year. We have, I think, 31 days. 31 days in December, so we have 31 days left in order to still do a great amount of work. 31 days is a lot of time, considering we have 24 hours in each of those days to do the work that we need to do and get extremely committed. You also will receive the Mission Minded 30-Day Journal, which is a digital journal that you can feel free to print out every month of the year. So if you say, I've printed out my 30-day journal for December, I'm going to print it out again January 1 and redo everything all over again. This is essentially a tool that you can use over and over and over again for all 12 months of 2019. And I would encourage you to do just that. Keep all of it inside of a binder so that when the end of 2019 hits, here is this place where it lives and breathes. Here's what happened in January. Here's what happened in February. Ooh, March was a little bit rough. Ooh, April was a little bit rough, but I know why. And I think that success leaves clues. That's one of the laws of power. Success leaves clues. So if you're looking at all those things, you're saying to yourself, here is a document that I can look at and say, I notice every single March such and such happens. And that's always what messes me up and why nothing ever happens in the spring, because it creates a ripple effect for me. And then everything kind of goes wonky for the rest of the year. But you're able to look at it and see, here's something tangible. I'm not just thinking that's what I think happened. No, this is what I know happened, because I've been keeping track of everything that has been going on in my life for the last 12 months. So that tool in and of itself is extremely powerful because it creates a place for you to get back on track and say, this year, rather than being reactive to everything that's happening in my life, I'm going to be proactive. I'm going to get ahead of this and make sure that that never happens again by putting the right strategies in place to ensure that it doesn't happen. And then the last thing that you'll receive is the Mission audio download, which just describes to you how you can better understand your own mission, your own assignment, how to stay in your lane. And really, to me, it's just inspirational to begin this entire journey, this entire process. And do understand that I'm in process as well. There are a lot of things I'm really great at explaining, and I do consider myself to be an education expert. But there's so many parts of life where, my goodness, I'm learning every single day. I am a lifelong learner, which is why I am so extremely passionate about working with women, about working with children and families, because this isn't something that's like, I did it and I'm there and now I'm good at it. It's process. Process is continual. I mean, it's circular. We're just going to keep going each and every day. It's not steps that once you climb and you get here to the top, you have arrived. And sometimes when things are not products, where it's like, boom, I got it, it's process, we can find ourselves in a never-ending cycle, or we can find ourselves like a well-oiled machine. We just keep going and going, delivering, spitting it out, and giving this good to our life, and creating good experiences for ourselves so that we can live our best life. To me, that's the only way that you can do it. So when I hear programs like Michael Hyatt's program, Your Best Year Ever, was a phenomenal course that helped me very much so get on track with my goals at the beginning of 2018. And if you have never heard of Michael Hyatt, or if you've never researched that resource, go to reginacoley.com/BYE for Best Year Ever. It's a link straight to his book. Get it off of Amazon. Order it. He has a whole course behind it. It's amazing to help focus on goal setting and understanding how those goals fit into your larger life plan. In Mission Minded, I give you a resource guide to tons of additional resources as well that have really spoken life to me. And I think at the beginning of this year, I really found myself in a really dead place. And I know that sounds dark, and I know that sounds morbid, but I was in a very dark place because I just felt like things were just going wrong. And if you ever found yourself in that place where it's like, but I put things in place, but I tried so hard, I put forth my best effort. Why? What is this? And it can create confusion, and you can wallow in that if you don't find yourself around the right people and the right places and environments for yourself. And so, like I said, as a woman of faith, my Bible was my best friend for a very, very long time. It still is, and I keep it by my bedside. But that to me was the only thing that helped me overcome. And so I want to make sure that this year and going forward, knowing that I'm hearing from lots of people that want to later share their stories. I was dealing with alcoholism. I've been dealing with depression. I had 10 miscarriages and I didn't tell anybody. Like, people harbor and carry the darkest, deepest secrets that they just don't feel like they can share because of this sense of pride. And I'm trying to understand, when do we get to this place where we can no longer share our failures with people for fear of being judged? Who cares? We all have made mistakes. We all have things that we want to hide inside of our closet and hope that nobody ever finds out about. But if we don't come out and say, and just raise your hand and say, I need help, can anybody help me with this? And be embraced by a community of people that can love on us and care for us and say, that's okay, boo, we've been there. Let me help you. Okay, this is the problem. Here's what I think you can do or should do. And just love on somebody and help them through and get to the other side, to where they feel at peace, to where they are experiencing joy in their lives. We got to get to that place. I've suffered from depression for almost over 10 years. 10 years. And not feeling confident enough to be able to say to somebody that I need help. Because sometimes in our communities, we're like, oh, girl, you're not supposed to tell nobody that. Don't tell nobody that. Why? Now that I'm finding these communities where people are like, yes, black girls therapy and all this other kind of stuff, I'm like, so y'all had these answers all along? Why didn't I just open my mouth and ask for help? So if you find yourself at the end of the year, don't feel like you have to live in guilt. Don't feel like you have to live in shame because something didn't manifest that you wanted to have happen. Find your community. And this may be it. It may not be it. I'm okay with that. And I know that I'm not assigned to everybody. So this may not be it for you. But if it is, I welcome you with open arms. And I'm very excited to work with you. And you can learn more information about the program again at reginacoley.com/mission-minded. Again, the program kicks off today. I'm so excited about it because it's been a journey. And it's been a journey that has now been put into a program and process that I hope that you will enjoy and love and utilize actively, and know that you are in a community that is intentionally focused in on your growth. You see these pictures? I'm in my bedroom. These are my pictures that I keep over my bed because it helps me to focus in on growth and plants, and just an opportunity that even if something is dry and it's withered, if there's a seed, there's an opportunity there to replant, regrow, retry, renew. We have that opportunity each and every day that the sun comes up. So I hope that you utilize the beginning, December 1st, to rest, to recuperate, to enjoy a little bit of a recreational time. But I do hope that you are being extremely intentional about your mission this year, what it is that you do. My mission at reginacoley.com is to help driven parents, educators, and edupreneurs empower their children, excel in education, and succeed in life. I provide tools, training, and mentorship to those individuals that are interested in things that are like working with youth. I have a youth development program, homeschooling, looking for tools and resources just to be a better person and steward and leader in your process. All those tips, tools, and trainings are available to you. You just have to ask yourself, what is it that is inside of me that I've been gifted and graced with, that I have this opportunity to share with other people? And in addition to you doing the work that only you can do best, I hope that you find a group that nourishes that inside of you, that helps you to manifest your best life, and that really is interested in pouring into you. If you haven't, I welcome you to Mission Minded. I hope that you can finish this year strong and start your 2019 even stronger. If you have any questions about this program, anything that maybe wasn't covered today, please feel free to send me an email, regina@reginacoley.com. On the website, I also have a gray tab that says send me a voicemail message. You can actually record your voice. I can hear you, and you can talk to me, let me know what's going on, what questions you have, what comments you may have. Just talk to me. I'm here. And I'm here for you. So I hope that you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Be blessed and take care. Bye.